Hello, how are all of you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I must start by saying I'm a huge fan of this show. Absolutely loved every episode, and you all are tremendous in it. So congratulations on that. Um, Gene, I'd like to start with you. You inhabit the role of Deborah Vance as if you were totally born to play this part. When you looked at the screenplay, when you started engaging on the project, did you have a feeling that this would be a special role for you?
I think I did. And in fact, when I first met with the producers, we were discussing different things about the show, and I said, you're right. I'm really, I'm perfect for this part. I'm trying. Oh, thank God. But no, it checked off all the boxes. If I could have sat down and written a show for myself, I couldn't have done better in terms of things that I'd love in my next job. Um, I mean, I'm always looking for something that I haven't done before. I'm always
Mhm.
trying to get a type of character that I haven't played before, you know, or a period piece, or an accent, or something. So I just felt like I had never had a shot at playing a part like that, and um, I fantasized about doing that when I was a kid, being a comic. What's funny too is when I first moved to LA, I discovered this one beautiful street in Bel Air. I thought it was the most beautiful. I still think it's the most beautiful street I've ever seen in terms of the homes and the trees and everything. And when I first got here, I fantasized about uh, living on that street someday. Super expensive. Well, coincidentally, the exterior of Deborah's house is right on that street. So I'm going, really? So I got my fantasy of being a stand-up comic, my fantasy house, but not for real. But at least I got one. You know? I got to play a stand-up comic and live on that street. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Excellent. Did you use any inspirations from stand-up comics? For some reason, I'm thinking of Phyllis Diller when I look at this part. I don't know why, but that was a callback to me for whatever reason.
Uh, Gosh, I think that there's a lot of people mixed in there that I like. Um, I wasn't trying to do Phyllis at all. I wasn't trying to do Joan. I wasn't trying to do, but I mean, certainly that's all in here of all the women I've
Mhm.
seen for years, and you always want to make it your own, like Hannah's persona on stage, and she's a stand-up comic, is completely unique, you know, um,
Thanks, Gene.
just from you. But it's always going to be filtered. I mean, I even feel like Sam Kinison occasionally.
Excellent. Hannah, as Jean just mentioned, you have a background in stand-up comedy. Did you give Jean any advice on how she should take the stage?
I mean, Jean is a comedian. She has first of all, her start is in theater, and so live performance when she first started, is natural to her, and she's a natural orator, and so she's just got it in her. The only thing I ever told her was like the the distance of the mic from your chin, and like how that it's like literally a physicality, like tiny thing. But I mean, she's Deborah Vance, baby. Yeah.
So
What?
this
I'm going to run for office. That's it.
Oh, you got my vote.
Definitely. So this show obviously rises and falls on the chemistry between the two of you as leads. How did you build that chemistry? At the same time having a common bond, but also being adversaries.
I think we just got real lucky. We right away. I mean, I just thought that she was phenomenal, and unique and quirky and funny, and she seemed like a nice person. Not, for the most
Total
part.
monster, turns out. Uh-oh.
We just make each other laugh all the time. I don't know what it is. I mean, on the set, even when we're doing scenes where we're arguing between takes, we're just goofy, making each other laugh and coming up with stupid little routines. I don't know where they come from. Um,
we We just, I would say it's like there was no like effort to create a relationship. It just seamlessly fell into place because I think we're both like, you know, we're both loving people who want to connect and do that through humor, HUMOUR, humor, you
Put a little
know.
British spin on it.
Yes. We true.
Maybe
What
we shouldn't say that, because would it make us sound like we were more talented as actors if we said that we hated each other off?
Yes, you're right.
I saw when I came in, I was like, oh, great. I'm walking into a hostile environment. And then the camera
Okay.
turned on and it was like, whoa, what's this?
Out. And I think that it just shows the ability of all of us to overcome,
Great adversity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was tough. I mean, the article's coming out soon, so
Okay.
lawyer up.
All right. Hopefully you felt protected, Caitlin.
Yeah, well, I always bring a team of bodyguards. No one's allowed to talk to me. This is the first time I've actually spoken to them.
Okay. You should bring Rob along with you.
What I mean, he gave them an ocular pat down and they were not cleared.
The men's health cover was just a ruse for him to beef up to be able to protect Caitlin.
Right.
So Caitlin, I absolutely love the horrific mess that DJ is, and your episode De Jewelry is fantastic. I'm obsessed with the question of you playing that role in that episode, going to that jewelry show. Do you play DJ as if she knows that the jewelry is kind of questionable, or does she 100% believe in her abilities there?
She 100% believes that this jewelry is a work of art. Each individual piece is a work of art. And
Excellent.
anyone lucky enough to be gifted with such a piece, Ava, you will probably treasure it forever. And I do believe that she is stunned and mortified that her mother doesn't see this. And I think her life goal is not really to make jewelry, but to prove how important and special she is so that her mother will finally give her some love and attention and more and approval mostly. Because I think that she's got this very strong role model to look up to. And as much as she blames her for everything, she ultimately, she just wants to be loved by her. And I think she wants to feel that her mother loves her as much as she loves her career. And so
more lovable then.
Did you not see the jewelry? I don't need to be lovable. I just need to be talented. I'm not going to fight here. I'm not going to fight with you in front of these people. Stupid.
I can just, do you guys, I should
You'll stay and you'll witness.
Yeah. Sorry, that's on me.
Well, when I asked you that question, you look like I had offended you just a little bit because you didn't make the jewelry yourself, did you? You don't have the rock tumbler.
I don't know how to not bounce back and forth to character Caitlyn. So I make it a part of me. You know what I mean?
Excellent. What can we expect from Caitlyn as the season progresses?
Well, I will say you've seen the jewelry episode. I think there's one more that's a little DJ heavy that's so fun because I think it really digs into just stuff that I haven't been able to do before to sort of piggyback on what Jean's saying. I always like looking for characters I haven't been able to play before. And it's been really hard to find a comedic character that also gets to be a real person and have some real emotion. And so in the 7th episode, it really kind of explores the characters' relationship between really the 3 of them, but Deborah and DJ, and where they came from and what they're dealing with currently and where are they going to go from here. And then Ava gets roped into there too. And I think that this show has so much to offer in terms of levels. It's just so funny. But then once you feel like you get what it is, you're blindsided with this other really amazing depth.
Excellent. Hannah, Falling, the episode, where you're sort of it's almost like a standalone episode for you, broke my heart. It really did. It's a great episode. There's a lot of sadness in there, particularly, I won't give any spoilers away, but there's some sadness in there. how do you, as an actress, modulate your performance between the comic moments and the dramatic moments so effectively in that particular episode?
I almost feel like comedy is in most cases in the show and in my life a response to the dramatics. Like, so it feels like a sort of home for me to do that. It is like truly a defense mechanism, a coping mechanism. And so, yeah, it feels like the two are so close. And that's why another reason I love this show is because I see them as I see them as hand in hand. I mean, literally theater, the little masks. What is that? It's comedy tragedy. Is there a name for it? It's just comedy tragedy. Sorry, I'm
That works.
utter trash. But yeah, I mean, that's life. That's the show. Art imitates life.
All right.
Write that down.
What was that, Gene?
It'll be a hit.
Write that down. Life imitates art.
Life imitates art. Art
Yeah,
imitates.
she didn't come up with that, right? I don't want to like
Sounds mad.
shrink, but said before.
Yeah, this is going to be a new hit. This saying that I just have a feeling about.
Well, I feel like your autobiography should be "I'm utter trash." I love that. That's fantastic. I don't know you personally, clearly. I don't know if you're truly
Wow,
trash, but that was strong.
Wow,
Was that too
Clarence.
much?
Thanks.
One of the things I love the most about the show, and this is to anyone who wants to answer this, one of the things I love most about the show is that there is plot, but it's not plot driven. It is character driven. It is based on the relationships, not only with all three of you, but the relationships that you build through the show. Is that important to you as actresses working today?
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, because it seems we have gotten away from that in terms of movies and things like that, where the stories are not character-driven stories. Back in the 70s, we had brilliant movie after movie after movie after movie that were all character-driven, and that's what people want. I mean, that's how you get sucked into a story and can't wait to see what happens next, not necessarily what special effect you're going to see next. But I mean, that's as old as time. The village storyteller was a very revered person, and that's why I feel like we're storytellers, and that has to come from the people in the story.
I have to say, I get asked a lot what comedies I watch, and I always feel really self-conscious because I'm like, oh, we don't really watch a lot of comedies. And I think the reason is because Rob and I talk about it all the time. I'll watch a comedy and I'll think it's so funny and so well written and great, but I have zero desire to go back and watch anymore. It's not because I didn't like it. It's because I don't, for whatever reason, I don't have a desire to watch the next episode. And it's because comedies, right now, look, being funny is important, but it really has to, the show itself has to be about something to get people to want to come back and watch another episode, find out what's going on. Sure, it's funny, but it has to be about something. And I think that's where this show really nailed it. I'm in it and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Same. I can't wait for the, I've seen 6 episodes. I'm ready for the other 4. So, Hannah, one thing that I found incredibly poignant about the show is Deborah Vance has a legacy of being the woman that burned her husband's house down. That is how she's built a lot of her later career in Las Vegas. You find out something, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but you find out, Ava finds out, sorry, my daughter's name is Ava. Ava finds out something about that. Does that change Ava's impression and working relationship with Deborah, knowing that revelation of the truth behind the burning of the house?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I think I think that the journey is about, empathy and understanding. I think for every single character to understand, like as you were saying, it's a very relationship based. show, and that journey is absolutely centered around understanding. And I mean, what I've said about something similar to this is that, like, it is not lost on me the sacrifices and the pain that female comedians endured back in the day so that I can be free, to use my voice. And of course, like, there are so many factors that go, I mean, like, I've also said that, like, saying women is also like it's a blanket term that, there are obviously so many different factors into how a woman's voice is honored. But I will say that it is such a new day, and the more, like, love and understanding and empathy we can have for people who maybe are different, like old school, and have, different experiences, but really gave us what we have, as young comedians, as young women and female comedians, like, and I should say non-male, non-cis male comedians, like, it helps us. It helps us all understand each other, like, in real life and in this show. And so, that's the journey for me, because these two women, and really everyone on the show, they have their dynamic and there's love there, but it's just about figuring out how to understand enough to really, really mesh well.
Good answer.
Thank you, darling.
Ava gets into trouble early on in the show, or has gotten into trouble before the show starts, with social media, with responding to something on Twitter, essentially. As a comic, do you have that same fear that, I've gone too far, or do I say this on Twitter or something like that, and reacting to cancel culture and things like that? Or is that a real fear?
Not for me, because I don't see myself making jokes that would, if I'm going to tread in dangerous waters, I'm going to make sure that I'm not punching down. I mean, it's just not in my, that's where you get into trouble. Like, my whole feeling on, like, what you can and cannot say is, like, people who are the butt of jokes are simply just tired. And I'll speak for myself, like, as a queer Jewish woman, like, I've heard all the Jew jokes. I've heard all the bisexual, the bisexual jokes. I've heard all the women aren't funny shit. And I'm simply like, oh, can I curse? Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Sounds great.
Fuck yeah. So I've heard all that stuff, and I'm going, give me more. You want to come, you want to come for us? Like, please do it, but come correct. You know what I mean? Like, the bar is higher. So if you're gonna joke about something, it better be good. In Ava's case, like Deborah says, there's no line. It's just not funny. So, if you're going to go there, but do it right, and be original, because people think, today there's a group of comedians that thinks bigotry is automatically humor, and it's not. So that's my feeling on it. Did the light just shift? Anyway.
Last question. You all come from different backgrounds. Jean, you come from theater. Caitlin, you came up in the Groundlings, and Hannah, you stand-up comic. Did you do any improv on set on this show? Whoever wants to answer that.
Not strictly what I would call improv, but the producers and writers are who are so talented and so funny, but have absolutely no problem allowing us to ad lib as much as we want. It doesn't mean it's always included in the scene, but I think they feel that it can only help, and they have used, much of it on occasion. But
yeah, I only popped in and out, so I went wild. I just kind of said, I will say that the scripts are so well written, and these guys are so talented. I felt so fortunate to be able to have them write a script for me that was funny. And also was so lucky to just be like, cool, we got that. I'm going to just screw around. And it was great fun. It just makes it so much more fun.
Right.
So much fun. We like, I mean, the amount of, they would get the coverage, they would get everything they needed, and then Lucia would just be like, all right, guys, let it rip, have fun, have a good time out there. We would just like play. It was awesome. I miss it.
That sounds fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the time. I'm honored to be in the presence of such three amazing women. I love this show. So thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.